software computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
At it. Doing it. Essentially unknown. I have no idea what's going on. Go. I cannot find video. Frustrating. I saved it somewhere. See? Obviously, we have RFK, but oh, see if I can find. Come on. Close. I don't know if you ever do your YouTube, if you ever, oh my God. I don't know if on YouTube, if you ever look at your like subscriptions, I'm subscribed to like an absolute metric ton of pages. Ooh. I don't think I ever like actually look at like the subscriptions page, and there is so much. Oh my God, there's so much videos on. I look at it more because I don't realize how many of these I actually miss out on. Not ready. Videos. There he is. Word. This one. Well, Mark Lobliner of Tiger Fitness Doc. Okay. Start off. Right. Starting it on off. Kiana. I actually been following her quite a while, actually. I do like her content a lot. Kind of a self-professed overweight person turned not overweight person anymore. Don't quote me, but I think she's now a dietitian or is studying dietetics. I'm not 100. Now that I say this out loud, I'm actually not 100% sure. Nonetheless, I always think her content's pretty like thorough for the most part. And like somewhat relatively insightful to say the least. So let us watch, learn, and then maybe do some old research and see what we got. You off. Beats onto probably super loud video.
Has been called Hollywood's worst kept secret. And it's true, Hollywood seems to be shrinking even more than usual.
People are doing Ozempic
At all.
parties here in LA.
Oh. Cooking. Property. You tell if I'm hearing something from like the background or if it's the music. Whatever. Anyway. Is the music okay? God, throw me. All right, cool. Let's do the music thing. Let's listen to this. Or not music thing. The music thing. Let's listen to this. Let's learn about Ozempic.
Ozempic has been called Hollywood's worst kept secret. And it's true, Hollywood seems to be shrinking even more than usual.
People are doing Ozempic parties here in LA where they all do Ozempic.
I went to lunch with like a girlfriend and she's like, I'm not really eating anything. I'm so nauseous. I'm on Ozempic. What is this?
I just trust almost absolutely nothing that comes out of Fox News, by the way. So just, I have no idea what that is, but just my immediate thought is I distrust it.
And everyone thinks they know why. I know Ozempic when I see it. Ozempic queen, one more victim of Ozempic. The Ozempic is Ozempicing. Gossip about whether or not someone has or hasn't lost weight using Ozempic is suddenly constant. This medication's only been around for 2 to 3 years at this point, but it's already baked itself into our culture. And not for its intended
hell yes,
purpose.
it has.
First, it was supposed to be a diabetes drug, then it was marketed for obesity, and now it's come to represent already skinny celebs getting skinnier. And this new rumor mill equals big bucks for big pharma.
Recently valued at more than $500 billion.
But up until now, the creators of these medications have been like, we do not condone the off-label use of our products. And
Wink.
society...
I hope she, I haven't watched this, so I hope she goes over the, actually, hold on, before that. It is quite pervasive on how much, people immediately blame Ozempic for almost everybody who's losing weight. I mean, obviously celebrities are always going to get probably the shit end of that stick because they're public facing, right? But even in like my industry on the small side of things, like I hear that whenever people start losing weight. I think the thing with like weight loss is if you don't pay attention, like if an external person doesn't pay attention, like if I start losing weight, people who see me every day will notice little by little until it becomes such a drastic change, or they see something that will give them like a side-by-side comparison of like, 6 months ago to now type of thing. Or if you don't see it, like, or if you just, yeah. So that's going to be one thing. So it's not super common, right? Or the other option, which usually happens, is then if you don't see somebody for a long time, they're on a weight loss journey or whatever the case may be. And then you have like this kind of timestamp in your brain, and then you see them and you're just like, holy shit, what happened? Like you lost a bunch of weight, look very different, or whatever the case may be. But now it's kind of become, it's kind of similar to if you ever see like a jacked person, almost the immediate thought is steroids. And there's like almost no way to get around that, it seems, at the point. So with weight loss, that's the thing now, right? I think a lot of times people tend to see, well, one, weight loss is hard. It's hard to do. And I think people see in themselves, they're like, oh, that's really tough. I don't know that I can do that. Therefore, they must be doing like the easy way out, i.e. taking a drug that forces you not to eat, essentially. Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, it's marketed also pretty wildly. Some of the videos of this are really funny, or the advertisements for it are very funny. I think I saw something like it was not Fallon or one of the late night shows did a video or something showing like one of the ads, and it's like, oh, this is great, may cause weight loss, and this is if you have this type of diabetes, it can cause weight loss. It's like weight loss.
He's been like, did you guys just wink? And they've been like, no, what do you mean? We do not condone the off-label use of our products. Today we're discussing the bizarre relationship between your favorite celebs and Ozempic. Inspired by an article that I read about the Golden Globes that just took place very recently. Just 8 seconds into the start of the 2025 award show season, Nikki Glaser, the host of the 82nd Golden Globes, dubbed the show Ozempic's Biggest Night.
And welcome to the 82nd Golden Globes, Ozempic's Biggest Night.
If you don't know what the Golden Globes are, it's this Hollywood award show that is sometimes referred to as Hollywood's Party of the Year. It celebrates the best of both film and television. Okay, I definitely feel like Party of the Year oversells it a bit when you look around the crowd.
Look how wild they're getting.
To be here, and I am politely waiting for this to be over. But anyway, the event attracted many of the world's biggest stars: Ariana Grande, Kylie Jenner, Nicolas Cage, Zendaya, Demi Moore, and
What a lineup of people. And Nicolas Cage.
more. And hey, it's no
Who's
secret
this?
that ahead of some fancy award show, celebrities will often go to extreme lengths to look their best. I mean, this is the group that practically invented absurd diet hacks in order to look good for a particular event. The most recent example that comes to mind is Kim Kardashian toxically losing 16 pounds in 3 weeks in order to fit into Marilyn Monroe's dress.
And it didn't fit me. And so I looked at them and I said, give me like 3 weeks. And I had to lose 16 pounds to be able to fit this. But
Near constant dieting is just part of the celebrity
By the way, that's probably water. That's actually probably not that. I mean, in a healthy sense, 16 pounds in 3 weeks is obscene. That's 5 pounds a week. But you can do some water, some tricky stuff to do that. Not good. Don't do that. Bad stuff.
world. So it makes sense for Nikki to open up with Ozempic's biggest night.
Also, she's a comedian. Keep that in mind.
Although I guess it's a little weird because Jimmy Kimmel opened the Oscars 2 years ago with a very, very similar joke.
Everybody looks so great. When I look around this room, I can't help but wonder, is Ozempic right for me?
The question is, was the Ozempic joke the lowest hanging fruit for Nikki Glaser? Or was it part of Eli Lilly's sponsorship of the entire night? Yes,
Oh,
Eli
really?
Lilly, one of the two biggest names in GLP-1 medications, sponsored the 2025 Golden Globe.
GLP-1, by the way, is what all of these drugs are. I forget what. GLP-1 or glucagon-like peptide. Glucagon being what moves sugar out of the blood.
Ceremonies. The question we
Storage
should be asking
hormone.
ourselves here is, why does this Hollywood red carpet event have a pharmaceutical company known for making a certain prescription drug as its main advertiser? Because I thought these guys said this drug was for diabetes and obesity only, and that they don't condone the off-label.
Sorry, I was backwards. Glucagon. I need to double check myself. This is why I would double check. Glucagon puts sugar into the blood.
Use of the medication.
The maker of Mounjaro and Zepbound, writing diabetes and anti-obesity medications were not studied for, are not approved for, and should not be used for cosmetic weight loss.
Welcome to the 82nd Golden Globes.
Insulin is the other one. I'm an idiot.
Ozempic's biggest night.
So this partnership seems a little bit odd. She didn't even take a breath between the words 82nd Golden Globes and Ozempic. Now Lilly, formerly known as Eli Lilly, doesn't actually own Ozempic. That belongs to Novo Nordisk, along with Wegovy. Lilly owns Zepbound and Mounjaro. But despite the fact that Ozempic was not even created for weight loss, it's a diabetes medication, in just a few short years, the word Ozempic has already become slang, not only for this entire class of GLP-1 medications, but also for rapid celebrity weight loss. If we see that a celebrity's lost weight quickly or dramatically, if we see a celebrity who looks particularly skinny, we're already asking ourselves en masse,
Are they taking Ozempic?
This is a medication that somehow baked itself into our culture already. And I'd never really questioned it before. I mean, we are obsessed with celebrity weights and celebrity bodies. But moments like this weird sponsorship do make you wonder, okay, well, how much of this is natural and how much of this is a massive ad campaign? Did these companies have a hand in this massive cultural phenomenon? Advertising is out of control these days, as evidenced by this weird Hollywood award ceremony and GLP-1 medication alliance. The line is just very blurred between advertising and reality right now. And the 2025 Golden Globes were the perfect microcosm of this strange new
Totally side note. These slow-mo videos are awesome. They're so cool.
world that we're living in. See, Ozempic's done an incredible job making themselves the talk of the town when it comes to celebrity weight loss. We see one, we think the other. That is a dream situation for someone selling a product. And from what I've seen during this Hollywood award ceremony, somehow these medications managed to turn the spotlight on themselves. There's nothing secret about these drugs, and their prevalence inside and outside Los Angeles is elite. So much so that Lilly, the medication company that manufactures Zepbound, sponsored the CBS broadcast Sunday night. In addition to this sponsorship, which we'll talk more about later, and that Ozempic opening joke, the Golden Globes led to a flurry of articles like this. All the celebs linked to Ozempic after
Ooh, the Daily Mail. Watch out. All the celebs linked to Ozempic after suspiciously gaunt Golden Globes red carpet.
Your suspiciously gaunt Golden Globes red carpet. The Golden Globes kicked off Hollywood awards season Sunday night, but the real winner of the night was Ozempic. GLP-1's back in Hollywood spotlight at 2025
Fierce
Golden
Pharma.
Globes. Not to mention tons of articles that just quoted Nicki's opening line, Ozempic's biggest night, in their headlines, resulting in tons of free publicity
Demi
for
Moore's
these
win.
drugs. This Yahoo article, how weight loss
Yahoo.
drugs showed up at the 2025 Golden Globes. Details all the ways these GLP-1s were absolutely baked into the evening's events. Here are all the ways, subtle and not so subtle, that weight loss medications and conversations made their way into the big night. Of course,
It is like a dream to break into like common parlance, like to use, like we use the term Google and Band-Aid and Kleenex to refer to all of those things. Like that's just the verb is Googling stuff. I'm going to use a Band-Aid. I need some Kleenex, even though those are all branded things. That's the dream. But the fact that like Ozempic is such a common used word now, magic. And you hear it all the time, especially if you're in these circles, or just let alone people just talking about wanting to use it.
everything starts with speculation and gossiping over celebrity bodies, which has for some reason been historically a national pastime. And hey, I'm guilty, okay? I love a good transformation story. I find it interesting when a celebrity transforms or gets really fit for a role, but I definitely think that as a society, we take it a little too far. Speculating on the weights of celebrities seems to have been single-handedly keeping those magazines that you see at the checkout at Walmart in business for like 30 years. So of course, the Golden Globes were really no different. Viewers were quick to point out how many stars look noticeably thinner than usual, leading to rife speculation about whether they've jumped on the Ozempic bandwagon. Has everyone else noticed that for the last few years, online reporters have been slowly sliding back toward that catty 2000s tabloid vibe? Unfortunately, since the rise of this medication, whenever a celebrity looks different, it's a game of they look different. It's probably Ozempic. And I mean, in reality, it does seem like an awful lot of celebrities
What happened to just the good old...
are losing weight, and many of them...
What happened to the good old days of just doing cocaine, you know? Why can't we just get back to that, you know? We just do a bunch of cocaine, you don't sleep or eat for a little bit, and then you're good to go, you know? What happened? I'm just, don't do cocaine. Cocaine bad.
Have been open about the fact that they in fact use Ozempic or something like it.
And I did it hormonally.
Hormonally?
Yeah, it was
not Ozempically.
Everybody thinks it's Ozempic, it's not, it's something else. Everybody lying, everyone's like, a smaller portion, like, shut the up.
Right.
You're on Ozempic.
Like if someone won't talk about what they're doing to lose weight, then you know it's because...
Or they come up with something, oh, I have a new trainer.
Yeah.
But this has led to something that one magazine called Ozempic.
Come to me. I'll be your trainer. I work with real people. That is my career.
Accusing, where some celebrity loses weight, they say, I've lost weight naturally, and then the internet accuses them of having used Ozempic. But all this stuff
Oh no, boo, don't you say that.
15 years. For a good decade there, it was uncute to talk about a celebrity's weight aggressively in the media. It never stopped entirely, and it definitely still continued on social media, but in the media, in tabloids, in online reports, it became kind of inappropriate to pick a celebrity's body apart. Until now, we are fully back to dissecting celebrity bodies under the guise of are they or aren't they on Ozempic? And this Golden Globe.
God, I mean, I'm sure I'm so far out of this world now, but it was so pervasive. You know, just talking to picking people apart, right? Oh God, I kind of grew up in that time around Pam Anderson, Baywatch era, just seeing and hearing all those conversations. It is wild. And it is interesting because at one point it was often talking about people in a way that was sexualizing them, that was like the common norm. And then there was like a brief moment where it became like slanderous whenever it was like cool to hate on somebody. You can kind of make like general appearance or like references. And then now we're generally like, then it was like, no, we probably shouldn't do that. And it is Now, I'm fairly insulated outside of this world, so I'm not 100% sure, but I don't tend to see too much in the talks of like hyper commentary on people's bodies, outside of, because I exist in the fitness space, so unless it's usually just a bunch of weak-willed dudes telling women that they're too muscular and they're unattractive. So there's that, I guess. Anyway, sorry for pausing on that horrible spot.
Let's take a look at the suspiciously gaunt Golden Globes commentary. Weight loss and plastic surgery specialists speculated that several A-list stars.
It is so cringe to have these people who are like, I'm a plastic surgeon, I'm blah blah blah, and I think that this is like, I know that this is the thing, or like, I'm a trainer, I can blah 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 blah. There are like some obvious tells, but sometimes it is really hard to tell what's going on. And it's just people looking for a fucking
Selena Gomez,
their moment.
Demi Moore, and Cynthia Erivo had been taking Ozempic or other blockbuster weight loss meds like Wegovy and Mounjaro. They noted
They're all the same, by the way.
thinner arms, and more pronounced collarbones, which are highly suggestive features of weight loss.
Tauter faces, thinner arms, and more pronounced collarbones, which are highly suggestive features of weight loss. So one thing I will say that is not inherently indicative, but I think just from if you're like usually just like a pure dieting standpoint, is when people start looking like their bones, not like they look like they are bony, but there's such a lack of muscle definition. That is probably the time that I start to get a little like, what's going on? Largely because that also tends to tell me that people aren't exercising on top of it, or if they are doing exercise, they're just doing like non-weight training. By the way, lift weights, get big. That's the goal. Stay yacked, baby. But it's kind of like that atypical like yoga body, or like, or I guess to like sometimes yoga, sometimes maybe like Pilates, you would kind of think of a little bit. Not to say that those are bad, but like there's like a stereotype of like very lean, very thin. I don't even say lean. Lean implies like muscle definition. I think thin is like I have no muscle. I also have no like body fat on me, but it varies.
See, we're already really getting into specifics, and I feel like that's something we haven't been doing as much, and we should maybe leave in the past. We went far down that road once, and it damaged an entire generation of young women. Selena Gomez, a champion of self-love and body positivity, flaunted her naturally petite frame in an off-the-shoulder Prada gown. She was noticeably slimmer at Sunday's awards ceremony, but experts doubt the star, who has been open about her ongoing battle with lupus.
I think also a thing to note is as people get older, it seems to be a lot of times as like people age, it's like in the celebrity side of things, that people start to make more assumptions of like their weight loss, especially when they start talking about like their cheekbones. If they're younger, like 20s, there may be a conversation to be had. But as we age, we just lose like the collagen in our skin, right? We lose that like that bounciness to us. I don't know why I keep doing this. I just saw myself in the video. Hey, a long time viewer, first time chatter. Hey, what's up, baby? Rock Lobster. What time is it over there? But as you age, you lose you lose that suppleness in your skin. Like it's just a byproduct. It happens as you age.
Lupus is taking a medicine like Ozempic. Dr. Dennis Schimpf, a board-certified plastic surgeon, told DailyMail.com that Miss Gomez is definitely thin, but she isn't wasting or gaunt, which is normally kind of the giveaway. Hers would be the hardest to know for sure. I would be surprised if she had done it just because of her other medical problems.
Also, it's just so cringy. He's wearing, it's a Gucci belt, isn't it? Is that the Gucci logo? I don't know. The work calls happening to me, and then chugging coffee. Pound away. I had far too much caffeine today. I'm a little nervous that I'm never going to go to bed tonight. 8:30 a.m. God, it's tomorrow. It's such a wild world. hey, work calls, baby. Let's go.
And her starting
Let's learn about
weight not
Ozempic.
being really heavy. I love the little underhanded compliments. It's just so unnecessarily bitchy. This champion of body positivity would never take Ozempic, would she? But that one was the mildest one. The expert seemed to hold back due to her medical diagnosis, but he goes a lot harder for everyone else. Miss Kidman's backless dress revealed some loose skin, which could be due to aging, but is more likely a result of rapid weight loss from GLP-1 medication. Okay, I know they're celebrities and they're used to it, but imagine just going out somewhere, okay? You're going into an event, you think you look nice, and then someone like analyzed your body to the point of noticing that you have looser, I don't know, what's he talking about, the arms, to claim that any feature of her body showed in these photos is a feature.
I was saying earlier that we should just do cocaine, hypothetically speaking, in a video game, not in real life. No, I was saying, like, what happened to the good old days of just like doing some coke, staying up for like 48 hours, just like on a goddamn bender? Like, come on. The good old days, right? Or you have take some ephedra, smoke some cigarettes, you know? The good old days. What was this? Oh. Uh-oh, pause please. Hold please. Anyway, we'll ignore that one. And I'm thinking coke has to be healthy for you. It 100% is. I shitpost on this place that they talk about drinking pee as like a healthy thing to do. And so they did this post about how Coca-Cola is really bad for you. And I was like, would you recommend drinking our urine instead of Coca-Cola, given that it's probably less chemicals and a little bit better for you? It's so in. Yeah, it was wild. Actually, I don't know if anyone ever responded. You know what? Sidetrack. I can't get sidetracked. Keep watching this. Back to Ozempic.
Ozempic is just like, it's just kind of ridiculous. My favorite part about this is that it's not completely obvious what they're even talking about. Like, you literally have to stare at the image to be like, oh, is that what they're referring to? And we're also talking about a 60-year-old woman. Like,
it's so true. It's so frustrating. Like, obviously, now I'm not a woman, I'm a man, baby, but it's so frustrating, I can imagine, for like women to, especially in like Hollywood, because there's this like forever stigma or like view or need of you to be youthful. Oh man. Of just like this youthfulness, right? I mean, and I get it to a degree. Like, it is movies, Hollywood, it's, for a lack of a better way to frame this, it's like what people want to see, I guess, to some degree. But it's like, it's crazy to be like, this 60-year-old woman has some loose skin. It's like, yeah, of course. Like, everybody does. Everyone saw the front picture of this, but this dude is literally a bag of fucking skin. And like, whatever. It's obviously very one directional in more ways than one. Unless people hate you or you have a reason to hate you, then that's then that's fine. But
it just feels weird. Next, it was Demi Moore's turn, who was ironically winning an award for the substance that night. Miss Moore's collarbones are very prominent with no visible fat, and her neck tendons are noticeable, indications that she may have used a GLP-1 medication.
It's
and
so
overnight,
dumb.
we are suddenly back to publicly analyzing and picking apart the neck tendons of celebrities. Plus the expert
neck
advocate.
tendons.
Her face looks good, but that can definitely be due to her injections. He added, the people who've lost dramatic weight, and especially with those weight loss drugs, It's almost like their head looks too big for their body. That has literally nothing to do with these GLP-1 medications. That's just you saying dumb stuff in order to be included in this magazine. The article continues on with more
1000%.
side-by-side before and afters of celebrity transformation.
Who's this? Kathy Bates?
From the Golden Globes, including Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, who had their own weight loss controversies weeks ago during the premiere of Wicked. They also listed...
Does Ariana Grande look like... I'm somewhat perpetuating this now, but like hyper pale? She looks so much like... I feel like every image that I see of her now is like... She's so pale. I mean, I don't want to talk. I'm a fucking ghost.
And Mindy Kaling. So out of like the 200 people that were there were a handful of people that you could potentially single out and say, maybe these people who lost weight were taking Ozempic. I don't really know if that's enough to justify calling the entire Golden Globes suspiciously gaunt. But yeah, there's already this.
She is like, she is pretty like skinny. I think the other thing is, I think other things that people need to keep in mind too is like that a lot of times there's stuff going on behind the scenes that people don't know about, especially from like actors and actresses. Like they don't always share everything. Like I think some perfect example of this is like was it Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther? Like he was battling, I don't remember what disease, but some disease like for the entirety of him like filming, and like said nothing. And then when people were like, oh, he's sick and also like now he's about to die, people are like, what the hell? At least that was like my thing with it. Yeah, they're like thinking about that, like she left her husband during all this stuff too, so it could be just stress. Yeah, it could be a lot of things. It's there's so many things that could be going on behind the scenes of like what can cause people this. Plus on top of like, you know, I think there's, at least like when we look at like celebrities, there are, I don't want to be like Hassan, be like, I'm a streamer, it's hard, like not that type of thing, but like there's a lot of like different stresses that comes with you know, careers, especially when you're in the spotlight. Like you can argue that being a singer, you can make the argument that if you want to say that like being a singer is not hard, being an actress or an actor is not hard necessarily speaking, you know, from our average day-to-day like slogging through our days just to wait for the weekends. But stress and all those other behind the scene things are wild, right? They'll wreak havoc on you. So it's also a little bit insulting to what frustrates me is I can't be an imagine celebrity too. Your image is part of your job. The pressure for that must be crazy too. Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's I lost my train of thought. The stress behind the scenes, images, blah blah. Whatever. Anyway, it's also like a little bit insulting too with anybody that has actually lost weight, or that is losing weight, to just be like. Because there's like, when you talk about taking Ozempic, it just implies, it like immediately goes like, oh, you cheated, you took the easy way out. And for anybody that does it in like the, I guess the more common way, diet, exercise, that type of thing, lifestyle changes, like that's hard fucking work. It's not easy at all. And that devalues like the effort so aggressively to just throw that out there. It's the same thing when people start saying that, like I was saying earlier, with anybody who is when they're like, oh, he must be taking steroids. It's like, no, like I've busted my ass. Like not me in particular. No one ever says that about me. But like say being like, oh, they just took steroids, so that's why they look that way. That's why they're so big. That's why they look so good. And it's like, fuck you. I've worked or busted my ass for how long to be able to get to this position, like get to where I'm at right now. Like, rude, baby. But yeah, or it could be Ozempic, who knows? Or steroids.
Sort of unholy matrimony between taking this medication.
Oh, but yeah, go back to like, you know, it being your job. Dude, it's true. Like to a lesser degree, I think everyone will. When I was younger, I really stressed about this. Like being a trainer, there's this kind of like, there's the idea of you know, I have to look apart to a certain degree. Like, there's an assumption that as somebody who is in the fitness world, like, you are going to be kind of exuding, you should live all aspects of that, of the lifestyle. I remember when I was younger, I struggled really hard with that. Trying to like consistently maintain like a certain physique, or I would get frustrated with how I didn't look a certain way, or if I felt like I didn't look fit enough to like warrant the trainer status or the coach status that I have. I need to like perform all that stuff just from an aesthetic. It was weird. It was wild. I mean, it took a while to get that frustration, and kind of like I think age just kind of helped me out with that. I just grew up and matured, as well as like learning that I didn't need to seek like as much excess or external validation. But nonetheless, it is it's still there and it's still real.
And celebrity culture, which is mostly just because we are obsessed with celebrity transformations. We click. And though that's really not Big Pharma's fault,
we be clicking.
they are profiting from this speculation big time. But the fact that Eli Lilly sponsored this entire night adds such a weird layer to the whole thing, because as we'll discuss soon, these medication companies have explicitly stated that they don't want celebrities using it for
Please show the
purpose.
commercial.
But
Show the
this whole
commercial or the ad.
sponsorship thing makes it quite clear that that's not true. Especially because while everyone was watching the award show, they were being hammered with advertisements for GLP-1s all night.
Hammered.
During the first commercial break, audiences
I haven't seen that one. What the fuck is that?
Latest campaign promoting the brand's clinical program, which offers registered dietitians, doctors, and GLP-1 prescriptions to members. And that wasn't at all the only weight loss drug ad. Throughout the entire broadcast, viewers were hit with commercial
TRT,
after commercial
I bet.
advertising these drugs. Multiple ads for Mounjaro, Ozempic, and Lilly's Zepbound all appeared during subsequent breaks. Man, I would have
Glutide
loved
by
to see
hers.
this.
There
This
you
would have
go.
been
Semaglutide is the other
absurd.
name for it.
Clearly, these medications want to create an association in your mind between Hollywood glam and their drugs. AKA, these companies want you to use their products for cosmetic purposes. They want that hype. They want you to look at these celebrities all glammed up and think to yourself, oh my god, if I had Ozempic, I could look like that too. They're trying to hit you with that classic emotional appeal of just take this and you could be beautiful too. But here's the most insane and disturbing part of the whole thing. While
Tell me.
jokes about the Golden Globes being sponsored by these weight loss drug companies had already begun.
I'll go back a little bit. It is nuts how easy it is to get this stuff now. They're like, if you go through like Hims or Hers, I guess there's that too. Like, I'm curious where this is how this will go over the next couple of years. Healthcare in the United States is going to be interesting to say the least. There is so telehealth is interesting because you can get a doctor kind of anywhere that will prescribe stuff or sell stuff. It's not hard to get. If you have the money, you can buy it. You can go to a like any of these websites that does say like hair care stuff, or like a progeria, what alopecia, right? That's what it is. Wait, hair loss. And most of the time they'll sell that. Like, you just buy it. Like, you do an online survey, a doctor will, like an actual MD will review it and then be like, yeah, sure, you're a good candidate, and like send it on your way. Or it's kind of like it's like California, but when it was medical marijuana, I'm sure there's probably other places too, but like you would walk in and they'd be like an actual MD and it'd be like, what's going on? I'm like, I get sore from working out. They're like, sounds like you can use marijuana. Here's your medical card. You can now buy it. And it was like as simple as that. And that's effectively what's happening right now, is just if you have the money, not even like it's that expensive. Yeah, for the medical marijuana, yeah, that's all it was. It'd be like you had to pay like a fee to get the card for like processing essentially, and that was it. And it was just in and out, easy, crazy. But that was but that's what's happening with like Ozempic and all of these drugs. The same thing with TRT. Well, we'll probably do something about TRT eventually, but it is it's crazy how easy it is to buy it, to just get it medically and like legally. That's it. Like, you just have to go in somewhere. I went for a hormone panel at a men's health clinic out of like one for I actually wanted to like do some tests, and two out of curiosity to see would they pitch it to me, and that's exactly what they did. Like I did my test. They were like, hey, here's where you're at. By the way, for the baseline numbers for like testosterone for men is like I think it's either 250 or 300 to 850. It's nanograms per deciliter, which is a huge range, by the way. So if you don't do that regularly, there's no way to gauge like where you're at. Are you up or are you down? So if you are ever curious about this, men, at a certain point, it does go down. It doesn't hurt to get it checked, but just make sure you get it tested semi-regularly whenever you do your blood work, ideally annually. But the guy has no reference ranges or reference to anything before me. And he just goes, yeah, he's like, yeah, you want a script? Like I can write you a prescription for it now. Like you walk out the door. I would walk out the door with my first shot. As like somebody who is probably almost guaranteed does not have low testosterone. So it's wild. But yeah, that's where we're at right now with Ozempic and all these weight loss drugs. Is just you just get it.
While jokes about the Golden Globes being sponsored by these weight loss drug companies had already begun, it wasn't until near end of the broadcast that it was announced that Lilly, the company behind Mounjaro and Zepbound, actually sponsored it. So this whole thing was sponsored by these companies and they didn't tell you until the very end. This is sneaky as hell. Imagine how mad you guys would be at me if I made a video subtly, but not so subtly, plugging something, and at the end I just snuck in, oh yeah, this was sponsored by whatever. You know what I mean? Most people don't even watch things to the end.
There was a thing. I wonder if it's still up. All the shit that I was looking at. What was it? It was shit. I just lost my train of thought. Oh no. American Heart Association. At one point, this was wild. They had a sponsors page, and the top sponsors was like Coca-Cola, Pfizer, all of these drug companies, and somebody saw it and was like, what is happening? And how is this a thing that this like organization was sponsored by companies that sell the drugs for like heart stuff? I like, you know, not NSAIDs, like beta blockers and like blood pressure medication. I don't know if you, but I know at one point they got rid of it, the page. Supporters, national supporters. Chinese laundry. Now we're getting into the things. Supporters. Pfizer still on here? Lame. Interesting. Yeah, some of this stuff is like they got rid of some of it because there's no shot that they were not pickleball. They just gave up that stuff. Anyway. You can find it. I don't want to donate now. Go away. That's volunteer fundraising, corporate giving, corporate sponsors, whatever. Anyway, it was really funny.
And
stream,
if they
man. I'll
wanted to
try and
be
catch you.
honest and upfront, they'd
Yeah,
put it
I'll see you
at
later,
the
man. Have a good
beginning
rest of your day.
because, you know, you should
Just funny
know
to say.
that you're being sneakily advertised to. Because the thing is, if you realize that one of these GLP-1 medications had sponsored the entire night, you're going to interpret everything so much differently. If a joke about Ozempic was cracked within the first 8 seconds, that might have you rolling your eyes. You might think, oh, that's a little bit messed up how they're advertising this. Isn't this a diabetes medication? Isn't there a shortage of this? And then while watching all the commercials, you'd be like, oh, that's kind of weird. That's really aggressive. But because they didn't reveal it until the very end, most people didn't know, and other people didn't realize until their brains had already processed the whole thing, that they were being sneakily advertised to. Not to mention, potentially the most important thing here, these guys clearly want to be associated with Hollywood weight loss transformations, with Hollywood beautiful people and bodies, which means that
Why not?
they
Why
want
wouldn't they?
us to use it for cosmetic purposes, right? They don't want to just target people with obesity. They want to target people for cosmetic purposes. Clearly, I don't see what else it could possibly be. So then please explain to me this ad that aired right before the 2024 Oscars.
Some people have been using medicine never meant for them. For the smaller dress or tux. For a big night. For vanity. But that's not the point. People whose health is affected by obesity are the reason we work on these medications. It matters who gets them.
Like, what kind of psychology is that? Is that like reverse psychology? Like what? How dare these glamorous, perfect, beautiful celebrities take our medication
it's so
to look
cringe.
picture perfect, better than they've ever looked before on the red carpet? Tisk tisk. It's literally, you don't want none of this, Dewey.
Get out of here, Dewey. You don't want no part of this shit.
I'll get addicted to it or something?
It's non-habit forming.
Like, given what we know now, the fact that they sponsored that night, isn't that the scummiest ad you've ever seen in your life? Not to mention, I found this interview with Eli Lilly about their sponsorship, and this is what they said. We also want to note that our commercials were focused on ensuring that patients receive the correct information on our GLP-1 medicines. Mounjaro and Zepbound are not for cosmetic weight loss, and we don't condone off-label usage of these medications. They literally just said that 2 days ago after sponsoring the Golden Globes.
Of course.
The absurdity to boldface lie like that is just so crazy to me.
It's crazy, but it's so common now. No one gives a shit. Like, we have such a extreme lack of like shame in, not just in people, but like just shame in general. Shame, I think, is sometimes good. There's good shame. Like, some things you should feel bad about doing, and you should feel the shame of doing that bad thing. And we're in this like wacky world right now, at least in the US, where you just say whatever and just brush it off and go with it. No one cares. No one's going to fight you on it. Like, if people feel a way about it, you just keep pressing on, and eventually they'll tire themselves out and they'll go away. And that's it. Like, that seems to be the case for almost everything. It's fucking insane. So who is going to come at these medical companies and say, hey, one, you're promoting an off-label use for your thing. You shouldn't do that. Or you're promoting a non-test, I guess, to a certain degree, tested use of a drug. You shouldn't do that. Now, from what I understand, it's also not an uncommon practice in the medical world to like sometimes use stuff for off-label use. I remember when I was younger, I don't remember what it was, but I was taking a medication for acne that was originally meant for, it was a malaria drug. You would take it before you go to like places that you might be exposed to malaria, or you take it as like a post-exposure as well. But I took it for acne. Interesting off-label use of that. Because it was known to be safe, right? You can do it. And it's just like the side effect of not getting malaria was also not having acne as much. So there's like that one hand where it's like, you just do it anyway and deal with like, what is it? The, ask for forgiveness, not permission type of thing. And then, but then on the flip side of that, you also will have in the same room, people who complain and argue that you shouldn't be promoting, or that you should be promoting the off-label use of something given if it's safe. You were here last week. You saw us learn about essentially the vaccine denials and all that stuff and COVID again. And I think about the people that were arguing for ivermectin being used as a drug to treat COVID or prevent COVID, when it was would have been considered an off-label use thing, but people were like, it might work. It doesn't, by the way. But that was so you would have people that would use the same like line of reasoning in the opposite direction for saying yes to something, because it's been tested and it's safe. So it's like wild that's the thing. And like, I'll see if I could I will pull up one of those videos, but for Ozempic in particular, there is such a like wink wink nudge nudge of like trying to use plausible deniability when it's like it's so overtly obvious what they're doing. Like, and we'll see if I can find it. It'll make sense. But that was the gist. It's crazy. No one gives a shit. You could just do whatever you want. It seems like, and just like you just roll with it. Be like, yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Who cares? Move on.
Marketing is so out of control that it actually creeps me out. Why are these companies so shady? You go to the lengths of sponsoring the Golden Globes and then claim that you're not trying to get people to buy it for cosmetic purposes after airing also the sketchiest ad of all time. Like, that's just insulting. And it actually starts getting you to be like, wait, well, how far does this go then? Did they seriously sponsor that opening joke? Why did so many news companies run with the Ozempic's biggest night line? Did they incentivize that? Do they actually want to be associated with not only celebrity weight loss, but people getting thin to the point of ill health? It just raises a lot of questions when you can't trust a word that they say. But safe to say that marketing is out of control at this point. But yeah, what these companies say and what these
Money
companies
machine go
do
burr.
often do not line up.
This
and
point.
It's unfortunate that some of the biggest companies in the entire world are so dang deceptive when it comes to getting people to use their products. Anyway, I didn't even scratch the surface of this whole Ozempic topic. There's so much to talk about. So many things I didn't talk about, like even with like the celebrity things, and I'll talk about it in another video. I don't really have a firm opinion on GLP-1s yet. I'm super pro anything that helps someone change, but I'm also kind of wary of potential side effects that might come out down the line, which has historically been the case with any sort of weight loss medication that's popped up. Miracle cures tend not to be so miraculous as time goes on. And yeah, it sketches me out when these companies act like this. Like, would it kill them to just be honest? I don't even understand what the point of lying is at all. It's not illegal to sell this thing for that purpose, so why lie? Like, why add that layer? I don't get it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
This is not what I thought this video was going to be, by the way. I thought it was going to be a little bit more educational, but that's fine. Ozempic is for the rich, body positivity is for the poor. You can absolutely hire a personal chef that cooks 3 healthy meals for you every day on this. Ozempic party is a crazy phrase to have normalized. And someone accused me of using Ozempic. I looked at them and said, I flattered you, but I think I can afford that. Not cheap. Or it's not expensive. That's the thing. Actually, background noise. Go. Telehealth. This is all it is. There it is. Weight loss right off the bat. Semaglutide. Like, how does this process work? What do we think? Or weight loss? What's your weight loss goal? I want to lose 16 to 50 pounds. Closer than you think, and doesn't involve restrictive diets. That's cool. Find a custom plan for you. We'll need to build your weight loss profile first. Yeah, let's go. Can I change this? On average, people lose 15 to 20% of their body weight in a week. Trial. In a 68-week clinical study of Wegovy, about 1 in 3 adults with obesity or with overweight and weight-related medical problems achieved 20% weight loss. Average weight loss achieved was 15%. Wegovy is a registered trademark of Novo Nordisk. Novo Nordisk. Okay. Oh, get smaller. Gonna go off for this. We'll click around a little bit. What state am I in? Do my birthday. Oh, nice. Looks like you're good to go on our end. Let's continue with some questions about you and your lifestyle. Back. How many different weight loss programs have you tried in the past? Most people will probably say they've tried at least one, so we'll go 1 to 5. Do you have any family members who struggle with their weight? Most people do. At this point in time, not uncommon. So we'll say yes. While it's not fate, family history can explain why it's harder for some people to lose weight, which is true. This is likely kind to inherited genes that influence things like your appetite and how quickly you burn calories. Kind of. There is something to be said about inherited genes as pertains to like there is like a genetic component that can be made up for like weight, like people's weight. There's also like how you grew up with food. You grew up with your relationship to food. We think of like childhood traumas. Well, that also applies to, it could be non-traumatic, but the way that we handle food as a kid influences the way that we deal with food as an adult as well. You think sometimes that like I grew up with the clean your plate. You leave the table till you clean your plate. So it's like, well, I don't want to eat anymore. I'm done eating. But it's like, but now you have to. Or the many stories of different cultures or families that are like, you show up, you eat, and now you have another plate because you finished that one, and now you have another plate because you finished that one. No, it's like, cool, we're all just gorging ourselves. Or they'd be like, oh, you're too skinny. You need to eat more. Be fat. You need to eat more, right? And how quickly you burn calories is, it's a little sketchy. That's a metabolic. Like, you have to have some like actual metabolic issues. Otherwise, like it is a lot of times in relation to how much you move and what goes into your mouth hole. How would you describe the level of stress you experience in your daily life? I think people feel pretty stressed at least once or twice a week. Now, stress does play a role in this as well. Your hormones, cortisol, for example, can be one of those that can kind of be a little bit of a retaining hormone, especially under chronic stress. There's also like an argument to be made about like inflammatory response from chronic stress that can also have an effect on holding on to weight. How much sleep do you get a night? Sleep is a massive one. I usually average about 7 to 9, so I'll be honest about that one. Sleep is key to losing weight. Study over 16 years revealed that sleeping less than 7 hours a night can lead to 15% increased risk of weight gain. It's a weird. Oh, they offer sources? No fucking way. Who is this? Associates between reduced sleep and weight gain in women. This was. When was this? 2012. Published and final edited in 2006. Nice. We're going 10, 18 years ago. Oh, God. All right. And then this. But I do want to know. You have a conflicts. A speaker for Sepulcor, Pfizer, and Aromatics, and a grant recipient from Chief Medical Officer, Respironics, consultant for Aspire Medical, Palo Alto, blah, 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 and the recipient of research grants from Wide MD, Teflon. Do just a quick consultant for. Quick little searchy search. Respiratory drugs, pulse oximeters. Okay, like CPAP machines mainly. Oh, what did I just do? Oh, I'm an idiot. Whoopsies. Let's speaker 4. Yeah, what's separate core do? Drugs to treat respiratory and CNS disorders. Okay, what else we got? Do Wide Med Limited. Let's see what you are. Florida company. You know it's good. Wide Med Technology offers advanced web-based sleep scoring. Okay, so it's pretty much just all sleep stuff, minus, I guess, Pfizer. Does Pfizer have anything to do with this stuff? Oh, it's a sleep study. I'm an idiot. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. Whatever. Anyway. This is like, I 100% believe in this. I mean, we could pretty much read the synopsis, or not believe in this. This is very much true. Let's go. Quick gander. As shown in Table 3, the risk of developing obesity was elevated for those sleeping less than 7 hours, with a 50% increase in risk for those who are sleeping 5 hours or less, and 6% increase in those sleeping 6 hours. The other hand, sleeping more than 7 hours is not associated with an increased risk. Covariate adjustment, including dietary and activity variables, had only a trivial effect on this relation, with less than 7 hours of sleep remaining an independent risk factor for future obesity. The effect of short-term sleep on obesity was greatest amongst those who were leanest at baseline. The relative risk of obesity associated with 5 hours or less of sleep compared to with 7 hours is 1.58, 95%. And those with body mass index, whatever. Yeah, sleep plays a unbelievably important role in your health. Also, like decreases in sleep shows impairs in cognition. I forget what the number was, but there was some number that was like is equivalent to like X amount of drinks if you were underslept. Where do you hold most of your weight? Most people are around stomach. Cortisol and insulin are two hormones that influence how and where we retain weight. Let's learn about your eating habits and goals. Source. Obesity, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes association with therapeutic implications. Obesity is a triggering factor for diabetes. Johannes, what a name. Sciences in Ethiopia. Obesity is a triggering factor for diabetes associated with insulin resistance in individuals who are obese. Higher amounts of non-esterified fatty acids, glycerol, hormones, and pro-inflammatory cytokines that could participate in the development of insulin resistance are released by adipose tissue. That's fat tissue. Besides endoplasmic reticulum stress inside the cells, adipose tissue hypoxia, oxidative stress, lipodystrophy, I don't know what that means. Lipodystrophy is a rare group of disorders that causes loss of fat tissue in the body. It can affect the distribution of fat, causes blah blah. There's congenital or acquired, can be caused by certain medications or other factors. For example, people with HIV who take older antiretroviral drugs may develop them. Interesting. And genetic background have a role in insulin resistance. However, no effective drug therapy was developed for type 2 diabetes mellitus targeting these physiological factors. This might be due to a lack of agreement on the comprehensive mechanism of insulin resistance. Therefore, this review assesses components, blah, blah, blah. So also lack of sleep can change the way that your body deals with cortisol and insulin. Usually cortisol will rise in the morning to kind of wake you up and then should like level itself out. But stress can also change that. Also, like sometimes the way that you eat can affect that. Insulin being the like puller of sugar out of your body. When we are sleep deprived, that can also cause higher who is more insulin. I'm not gonna say anything. I forget. Something with insulin. Something happens with insulin in a negative way that I can't remember off the top of my head. But sleep. Let's talk about some eating habits. When it comes to cravings, what type of foods do you usually go for? I tend to be actually I'm a little bit of both. Which eating habit sounds most like you? I usually multitask when I eat. Yeah. It's most everybody. I tend to snack when I'm stressed. Not really. I turn to food for comfort. Not often. I often remember myself with food. Sometimes. I don't really social mind. Any additional areas you'd like to program to focus on? Healthy lifestyle changes are key to maintaining results. The program includes support for these blah blah. Let's go boom, boom. We'll probably say all of the above. Let's go all of the above. What would reaching your goal weight mean for you? Ah, the beautiful question. This is how we get people to buy stuff. If you're in a sales process in some form or fashion, people ask you this question. If you hit your goal, what does that mean? How would you feel? What would that look like for you? I'd feel good in my clothes. I feel better in my body. Improving overall health. Lame. I'm trying to feel confident and have more energy. Ugh, duh. I look better in my clothes. Vain. Let's go. Now let's find which treatments are you eligible for. All right, you know what? Let's give them my information for no reason. Hold, please. Sure, you can use it. Use my info. Licensed medical provider will review your stuff and build a treatment plan tailored to you. Oh, I am 5, 10, 8, 25. How would you describe your ethnicity? Honky. What is your goal weight? Go 200. I'll lose 25 pounds. What was your sex assigned at birth? A male, baby. Do you identify as a man? I do. Have you ever experienced any of these symptoms? Binge eating or sorry. Bulimia? No. Eating very large amounts of food and feeling like you can't stop eating. Gorging? No. Actually, you know what? Sometimes. Severely limiting the amount of food you can eat due to an intense fear of gaining weight? No. I'm going to say no. I think most people say maybe. What did it say? This helps your provider better understand your current health so you can recommend the best treatment. Have you been diagnosed with a mental health condition? No, I'm not. Do you currently have any desire to harm yourself or others? I do not. Do you have any medical conditions or chronic diseases? This helps your provider get a complete understanding, including any conditions that impact your blood pressure, heart, kidneys, or liver, any disease such as diabetes, high cholesterol, stroke, cancer, or gout. No, I do not. Have you or a family member ever been diagnosed with any of the following? Thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2, pancreatitis, gastroparesis, diabetes, none of the above. Has anyone in your family under the age of 60 passed away unexpectedly due to cardiac event? No. Have you had any surgeries or medical procedures? Medical history so they recommend the best treatment for you. I'm gonna go. I had shoulder surgery, but I'm gonna say no. You currently, or have you ever taken a GLP-1 medication? I have never taken a GLP-1 medication. Do you currently take any medications or supplements? No. Do you have any allergies? Herbs, vitamin supplements, or anything else? Yes. Dairy. Lactose. It makes me poop. How often do you consume 5 or more alcoholic drinks in one occasion? How often? A few times a year. Barely drink. Have you taken any of the following recreational drugs in the past 6 months? Cocaine, opiates, methamphetamine, cannabis, none of the above. Are you currently using any nicotine replacement products to help you stop smoking? No. What is your average resting heart rate? Currently at 60. I go under 70. Do you tend to get side effects from new medications? No. Please rate how you feel about potentially experiencing nausea and upset stomach. I want to optimize for faster results. I am not as worried about potential side effects. Oh boy. Let's go 2. Not neutral. If your care team decides to write for you, a fast-acting anti-nausea medication will be included with your first shipment at no extra cost, just in case you need it as your body adjusts to the treatment. Aside from losing weight, is there another area of your health you'd like to improve? Sell me your other services. None of these for right now. What do we got? Is there anything else you want your licensed provider to know about your health history? No. Have you ever had had issues getting GLP-1s elsewhere due to supply shortages? No, I haven't. What does it say? We can report your shortage experience to FDA to help keep them updated about current shortages. Medication may be a good fit based on what you've shared. Here's why. Current BMI 32, heavy, obese. That falls in the range doctors may prescribe medication to get you back in a healthy state. Your goal is 25 pounds. Why BMI? Rest assured, a licensed provider will. How medication helps. Blah blah blah. You tend to think about food. Medication can help. Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? We should stuff. Anyway, here I am, killing it. We talked about BMI last time, so don't stress it. How medicine work? If you try it all and find nothing else worked, medication can help with. Makes you feel quicker, fuller, and longer. Doesn't involve restrictive diets. Is trusted and developed by doctors experienced in weight loss, eating habits. If you tend to think about food often, medication can help you because it can reduce cravings and overeating, quiets food noise triggered by the brain's appetite center, and lets you focus on building a healthier relationship with food on your terms. Nice. Next in a treatment preview. I don't know what's going to show up, so we're coming back off screen. Before we get your treatment option, let's talk about what you can expect with HIMSS. Don't care. Support from medical experts. Safety and quality. Science photos. Loading. What do we got? Reviewing responses, analyzing medications, building your kit, and compounded semaglutide. Let's go. Based on responses, a provider may consider this treatment. You can lose 11 pounds in the first month. Crazy. That's it. I think there's any special. Like, it's all of this is just being like, based on your responses, your provider may give you this in 6 to 9 weeks. Other options. Compound semaglutide, $165 a month. Low stock. $1,700? Holy shit. I lied. It is expensive as hell. God damn. No, semaglutide. So the peptide. It's the exact same thing. This is just a branded one. Or apparently whatever these kits are. I've never. Oh, it's metformin. Vitamin B12. Interesting. Anyway. Yeah, that's it. Let's answer some questions. And I'll just get it. They'll give it to me. This is sold as if there's like some crazy thing that's going to be like, oh, we got to look at your stuff. Now, that being said, there are like medical stuff and people are being honest about it. You will get, there are contraindications as to why you shouldn't take some of this stuff. God, it's crazy. $1,800 a month to get the same thing. Wow. Let's get on the black market, but that's besides the point. Man, it's wild. Yeah, that's it. That's as easy as it is. It's so frustrating that this is the world that we live in right now. But that being said, what do we think? There is a Dr. Mike directed to Dave Dobrik. Oh, this is one of those videos. I want to save this video for later. Save to watch later. I am torn on how I feel. I know I posted a thing earlier on the old Instagrams that was asking somebody to talk about Ozempic, or somebody asked me to talk about Ozempic, and I've talked about it before. Where'd it go? Did I try to convince you again? So we had a conversation about Ozempic earlier today in some of my clients, and I'm torn because there's like a weird double-edged sword. On one hand, I go, there is a positive being had, because if we're using it for weight loss in situations that people need it, it's beneficial. Like, there is just a strain on your body for just being heavy. And that's not just people with actual weight on their body, but also like, say, body fat, but like heavy, like weightlifters, bodybuilders, like that's also a problem. Like, weight is weight, and it's a tax on the system. It's energy. It is very energy taxing. It requires a lot to maintain. Exercise and movement is stress. Like, it's just, there's a lot to it. So it's not just it's not just obese. Like, when people think of like, whatever. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. It is better in general to be at a more moderate weight, and from a health and longevity standpoint. Now, it's not to say that you need to have like a six-pack and visible muscle and all this stuff. Like, a little to love is fine, but there is a tipping point where it becomes a health risk, and not just for you, but it also becomes a factor that weighs in on the rest of the industry as well. You become expensive to take care of. So I'm torn, because on one hand, it is for people that need it and can really, really use it. It's not bad. I think it absolutely needs to be coupled with, I think, one, obviously, like, healthy lifestyle changes, as well as like exercise and eating habits and whatnot. But it also requires, I think, one thing that we need to look at when we start talking about obesity, because it's like, it's a thing, man. Obesity. USA #1, baby. 40% of the adults are obese. God, yeah. It's like 4. God, that's a lot. So 4 in 10. What is that? 2 in 5? 2 in 5 people. Yeah, 2 in 5 people in the United States are obese. It is rough. And it is only getting worse as time progresses. And so, anyway, it's expensive, and there's a lot of us that do it. So there's a point where I'm like, it can be worth it to take these drugs to help get that ball rolling, because once you can kind of get into like a more like normal range, like, then I think you should be able to, hopefully your habits and everything have like cleared themselves up, so that way you can actually start to like use the lifestyle habits to kind of continue on the road. But the second part of why I get a little frustrated with it is now because I think about, or I don't think it's a good idea, is because I think people use it as a magic pill. It's not. It's not a magic pill. Well, it is. But it's also like, if you don't have the changes behind it, then then it's just going to come back. That's how it always works. It's the same thing with like when people used to, like when people get the lap band or any of the stomach surgeries. If you don't change the habits, you just gain weight. And at a certain point, you can't get those surgeries anymore. So you just become immediately like immensely dependent, you'll just become immensely dependent on those procedures to try and get you to a normal thing. And then you build it back up. Like, that's not good. That's really bad for your body and your health. So, but from people using it from that aesthetic standpoint to just lose the last 5 or lose the past 10 without the willingness to change the any of their habits is like, I think that's a really dangerous road to go down, because it sets a precedent of, I don't need to, I can kind of buy my way into the thing that I want without taking any consideration into like your overall health, from a pure like vanity standpoint. And I think part of that is like, we as a society have failed on a lot of levels. I think one of them is purely just understanding education on food. It's simple. It's not easy. It's hard. When it comes to like weight loss and getting these like your habits and stuff under control. But we've failed a lot of people in that, from an education standpoint, from a availability standpoint, and there's so many factors that play into that, from SES to just like location. So yeah, there's a lot. But there's something, and I don't quite know exactly what it is. I kind of need to talk through it a little bit more and maybe read some more, but just something feels icky about that, about using these drugs as just like the last little aesthetic changes that you want, versus just kind of buckling up a little bit and be like, I'm just gonna buckle down and I'm gonna do it. I don't want to say right, but do it with a little more grit, a little more reward. I think if somebody I remember when I was younger, if somebody buys you something, you value it, but you don't quite value it as much as like, I have put in, say, the hours to save the money to buy the thing. It becomes real. It becomes worth something. And I think when you kind of put in that work, you get to kind of reap the rewards of your hard efforts. And there's like a sense of joy and elation and like patting yourself on the back to be like, I did the fucking thing. And you don't get that when you take these drugs or take the shortcut, if you will, to get you there. Again, I think it's totally fine to use it as a starting point, to get you going, to kind of start pushing you down the road. But at a certain point, like, you have to take the reins and you have to take control of that. So yeah, I'm torn on it. I've had some conversation with clients about it and where we go with it and how to use it. And, again, I'm a little pro, I'm a little con, depending on the person in front of me and where we're talking about. But yeah, it's here to stay, and we will be seeing it for quite a long time, probably for a long time, until somebody actually gets hurt. When you think about some of the prior weight loss drugs like ephedra, like the Winstrol type of thing. So yeah, until that point, it's not going anywhere, and we got to deal with it or handle it. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that. How long is this bad one going? An hour and a half. Oy. All right, what else we got? Do we want to do any more? Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I want to find that video. What was this? Epic commercial. Is this the one? I want to see this Ozempic one.
Looking to
All right, let's see.
get back in your type 2 diabetes zone? Once weekly Ozempic can help.
Is used along with a diet and exercise for adults with type 2 diabetes to improve blood sugar and lower the risk of major cardiovascular events such as heart attack, stroke, and death in adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease. Available upon prescription only. Use along a large one-year study of 1,231 adults with an average Start an A1C. Where is this music coming from? A1C, Ozempic, or Januvia was added one more diabetes. Was added to one or more diabetes results.
To lower A1C. Most people who took Ozempic reached an A1C under 7 and
Under
maintained
7.
it. And you may lose weight.
Oh, and you may lose weight.
Adults lost on average up to
12 pounds.
In adults also with known heart disease, Ozempic lowers the risk of major cardiovascular events such as heart attack, stroke, or death.
Ozempic helped me get back in my type 2 diabetes zone.
Ozempic isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't share needles or pens or reuse needles. Don't take Ozempic if you or your family ever had medullary thyroid cancer or have...
Wait, what does that say? Local father, messing it up. Local father and daughter to donate bikes to community.
Or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2.
In the weekly times? No way. Oh, it's right there.
Help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes. Taking Ozempic with the sulfonylurea or insulin may increase low blood sugar risk. Side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
Looking to get back in your type 2 diabetes zone? Ask your healthcare provider today about once weekly Ozempic.
You may pay as little as $25 for a 3-month prescription.
That's so crazy. Ugh. Guide. I just sneak in and I can lose weight. That's not the one that I thought, but that's fine. All right. Let's do one. I want to do one thing because I got what time? I got a little time. A little bit more time. Let's do some. Do some RFK health policies. Okay. What do we want to do? We already did raw milk. I don't want to do that one again. Clean has a dirty secret. Hydroxychloroquine. It's another fun one. You know what? Let's go exercise. Okay, wait, before we do this. I can read really fast. Okay. True facts behind RFK's healthy policy hit list. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has already given Americans a preview of the Trump administration's health policy priorities, but how much of his distrust of the science and medical establishment is backed up by his solid data and real deal experts, and how much of it is half-baked bro science? We spoke with the leading authorities from across the scientific and ideological spectrums to get into the messy, complicated, and not always black and white world of medical research, from raw milk and vitamins, psychedelics, and hyperbaric therapy. Here's what you really need to know to make up your own opinion. Published in November. So, God. Let's see. In October, 2 weeks before Donald Trump swept back into office with a swift and decisive victory. Not very decisive. Let's call a spade. His future laid out to the Department of Health and Human Services, laid out public health priorities in a tweet. The FDA's war on public health is about to end. This includes the aggressive suppression of psychedelics, peptides, stem cells, raw milk. We didn't even talk about, what happened to stem cells? Why don't we talk about that anymore? It was supposed to be like the future to just like fix everybody. And apparently not. I am so white. Fix that. Ba, ba. You please. Yeah, I'm sickly. Whatever. One day I'll fix it. But for now, we stay white, baby. Raw milk, hyperbaric therapies, chelating compounds, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, vitamins, clean food, sunshine exercise, nutraceuticals, anything else that advertises human health that can't be patented by pharma. If you work for the FDA and are part of this corrupt system, I have two messages for you. One, preserve your records, and two, pack your bags. Go wild overseeing the FDA and the CDC, among many other divisions of the Health and Human Services. Double O. Outside the mainstream, and many he's a truth teller, taking on big pharma and other establishment crooks. To others, he's a menace, undercutting the public's trust in health officials and government agencies. True. I think you're allowed to have some level of like healthy skepticism, but it takes such a grand conspiracy for not as conspiracy in the thing of like aliens built the pyramids, but a conspiracy and like an attempt to do some sort of like wrongdoing for thousands of people across the world to like all somehow just align with the exact same like talking points and conversation, especially people that have like butting heads on concepts, to then all be like, yes, all of these things are psychedelics, bad for you. It's all bad. So I am surprised to see a lot of the Republicans be like MDMA or like some psychedelics as a means to treat PTSD. Pretty cool. It's interesting. Depression. There's something to be said about that. Though just seeing Elon Musk essentially being a fucking K-hole. So with his all that. So who knows? Anyway. Here's some stuff. Let's see. Which one do we want to read about? Conversations. Anti-vaxxer. 5 comments. Apparently not many people read this. Anti-vaxxer, no such thing. Ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine ineffective against COVID. Another lie. Big Pharma doesn't want RFK Jr. to head the HHS. Why don't you at least interview him? Read his book, The Real Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, Big Pharma, and the Global War on Democracy and Public Health. Then read The War on Ivermectin, the medicine that saved millions. It could have ended the pandemic, by Dr. Pierre Corey. If you can't do that, then this is just another coordinated journalistic attack and false and biased information. Then have corrupt issues in the address in the health and wellness realm for sure. He's an anti-vaxxer that disqualifies him. He has had multiple times he is not anti-vax. He is anti-experimental vax with little to no long-term studies. That disqualifies you from any further discussions. Quit parodying liberal sound bites. He's anti-experimental vaccines that haven't been through the usual decade clinical trial. By the way, 2/3 to 3/4 of all vaccines are not approved after a decade of clinical trials because they are not effective or they're harmful. Did you see the list of 130 plus side effects from the Pfizer vaccine? That is 95% effective. Remember, what a load of misinformation. It was he's not anti-vaxxer. I think the reduction of polio cases was caused by witch doctors. Oh boy. Cooked, as they say. Anyway, exercise is the strongest medicine. Let's see. Let's start here. Ben Court. The Samuel. See ya. Ebenezer Samuel is the fitness director of Men's Health and a certified trainer that with more than 10 years of training experience. He's logged training time with NFL athletes and track athletes. His current training regimen includes weight training, HIIT conditioning, and others. And Ben Court is an executive director of Men's Health. Editor, not director. He has a decade of experience writing and editing stories, peak performance as he relates to health and nutrition, weight loss, and sex and relationships. He enjoys yoga, cycling, running, swimming, lifting, grilling, and napping. A man after my own heart, Ben. I love you. How long is this? Pretty short read. Oh boy. It's great to see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. elevating exercise. Nope, just back at the top. Elevate exercise in the national conversation, and at Men's Health, we've been saying exercise is strong medicine for 35 years because nothing advances health and can't be patented by pharma as much as consistently working out. We've been reporting on the style of strength and fitness that you need to optimize your health for years. And the pandemic, which saw those who struggle with fitness suffer more than strong, healthy people, put a spotlight on that. Since then, gym memberships are booming. 2023 saw with 72.9 million people with gym memberships. These days, health span. Sorry, before we say that. Yes. Shocking. If you are in better health, when you get sick, you don't get as sick. Shocking concept. In CrossFit, in the L1, they talk about this. I love this thing. It is the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. Wait. Yeah. Sickness, wellness, fitness. And the idea is that the further you move along that curve of moving from wellness into fitness, if you ever get a setback, that setback doesn't immediately just put you all the way back. You actually just inch backwards a little bit. So yeah, you still might have a setback with whatever it might be, but it's easier to work your way. It's easier to start from here than here. I love that analogy because it really is true. When you are just in general healthier, whatever that means, you are just more resilient. Like the idea of just being like you're harder to kill is so true, and you're harder to kill from like bugs, viruses, bacteria. You're harder to kill because you're more resilient to certain diseases. In the environment, generally speaking, you got to run away. You're only as if you can run faster than the slowest person, you're off to a good start, right? These days, health span, the portion of life during which you've been able to do what you want instead of being frail and weak, is a buzzword. As we've covered in our stories with Peter Attia, MD, author of Outlive, the Science and Art of Longevity, according to Attia, exercise is by far the most potent longevity drug. Oops. Take me out. Make me read stuff. Pay for it. Never mind. Exercise is by far the most potent longevity drug. Quote, drug. The data is unambiguous. The data is unambiguous. Exercise not only delays actual death, but also prevents both cognitive and physical decline better than any other intervention. It is the single most potent tool we have in the health span enhancing toolkit that includes nutrition, sleep, and meds. Yes. So all of these play a hyper important role. As we age, we lose muscle just by nature. It just happens, right? It's like X amount. I forget what the percentage is, but it's after a certain, I think it's like 40 or something like that, 35 maybe even. You kind of lose like an X percentage just naturally every year. And so the idea is like as you're younger, you need to build up this like stockpile of health and fitness ahead of time as best as you can. You don't need to be a bodybuilder, you don't need to be an ultra marathon runner, but to live in a healthy state for as long as possible. Because once you start getting to that point where life, your just pure existence starts taking an effect on you, you will be in such a better position because you have decades, ideally, of positive health. It pays dividends, right? It's compounding interest into your future. So yeah, that's it. I have nothing else interesting to say on that one. Over the years, Men's Health has covered the ideal amount of exercise people should do, and like Dr. Attia, Men's Health recommended more exercise weekly, ideally 7 to 10 hours, than the government's regulations. Currently, the CDC says adults need at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity a week. There are multiple ways to break this up, but an easy way to think about it is that you should do fitness 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Adults also need 2 days of muscle strengthening activity each week. The CDC does not note that you'll gain even more health benefits if you go beyond 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity a week, or if you have 75 minutes of vigorous intensive activity. Thinking a pickup hoops game. God damn, I cannot read. The latest research reveals that you need a combination of different intensity of cardio as well as consistent strength training and stability exercise to do your fucking buzzword. To do your best self, to be your best self. Here's how much you should get to be your best. So, by the way, 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity a week. This is not like for optimum health. This is the minimum. This is the absolute minimum recommendation to have a positive effect on your health. The crazy thing is that most people don't even hit this. People don't hit these at all. Also, I don't know what they're talking about. Muscle strengthening activities is referenced in here, so check yourself, my friend. That's weird. You also need 2 days of muscle activity. The CDC does not note that you'll gain even more. Oh, it doesn't. Never mind. Or even greater health benefits if you go beyond 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity activity or survive blah, 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 activity, the equivalent or combination, you'll gain even more health benefit. Snapshot of recommended amounts of weekly activity across age groups. I'm in the 18 to 64 group, at least 150 minutes, at least 2 days a week of activity that strengthen muscles. So something that is moderate intensity and 2 days of strength training. Where are we at? Yeah, yeah. This is just minimums. This is minimum requirements, and most people don't even do this, which is nuts. You need a combination of different intensity of cardio. Your cardio goals: 4+ hours a week. Dr. Tia says your VO2 max is a good proxy measure of physical capability. It indicates that what you can and cannot do. Studies suggest that the VO2 max will decline by roughly 10% per decade after your 20s and up to 50% per decade after age 50. Increasing your VO2 max makes you functionally younger. So having average or even above average VO2 max has long-term ramifications. Dr. Tia's goal for his patients is to be at an excellent level for the decade or two below their age. Many smartwatches can estimate VO2 max, but a real test, e.g. the Cooper 12-minute run, is better VO2 max, better, and VO2 max charts are easy to find online. The good news, you can improve VO2 max by as much as 70% per year. 17, but you need to put in the work. Dr. T advises that patients do at least 3 45 to 60-minute cardio sessions per week in zone 2 of their heart rate, 57 to 65% of their max heart rate, a gentle intensity during which you can say a complete sentence. They can involve running, cycling, rowing, even rucking. This is optional for the health and efficiency of your mitochondria. Everyone with me? Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. The factors that burn fat and glucose to power your muscles and that decline as you age. Along with cruising in zone 2, Dr. Tia recommends that patients do a weekly 30-minute VO2 max effort, such as high-intensity intervals that last anywhere between 3 to 8 minutes. For instance, you can run, ride, row, or ruck uphill for 4 rounds of 4 minutes, with 4 minutes of rest in between. This is much higher level of intensity, a hard minutes-long effort. He says by testing your VO2 max and committing to cardio, you can nudge up your score and win in the long game. This is true. VO2 max is essentially your volume of O2 or oxygen that your body can consume or use. Higher VO2 max will essentially just is a symptom of overall physical health, cardiovascularly speaking. So you will see VO2 tests in a lot of different ways. Your watch, my Garmin, will just have a running VO2 test as long as you kind of track your workouts. If you're just wearing it, it doesn't really do much, but most things will do this if you put workouts in. A lot of them have O2 sensors now, so you get an idea of your blood oxygen levels, which, whatever. And you have they'll check your heart rate. They usually check like exertion. Some of them will even have sweat sensors to kind of tell what's going on there. Zone 2 is good, and I don't disagree with Peter T on this one. Peter T is a smart dude, trust him. It's boring, if I'm being totally honest. You can do a lot of different there's a lot of different ways you can kind of do zone 2, but it's a long time. I tend to sit a little bit on the higher end of what I would recommend with people. So I probably try to sit, I like sitting somewhere around that 70%, 70 to 75, where you're not necessarily doing full sentences, but you're kind of talking and maybe you can get a couple words, but you have to take a breath in between. I like that a little bit better. It's a little more fitness inducing versus just kind of base cardio. There's like a carryover. So if you think about our cardio as like a pyramid, zone 2 tends to be what would be considered like your base, right? So the idea is like the bigger the base, and as the pyramid goes up of intensity, we have a steeper peak. We can perform harder or for longer. So any of those levels behind are bigger and bigger and bigger, depending on how big the base is. So zone 2 is fine. And there's also a little overlap. So it's not like if I only work in that 57 to 65% according to this, that I only am doing zone 2. There's a little gimme, there's a gray area that exists between. It's the same thing with like muscle, like weight training. What is considered like the endurance, the strength, or the hypertrophy or power. There's a little bit of a gray overlap for everything. They kind of will work different stuff at the same time. You're just kind of biasing the direction that you want to go. So I tend to sit a little bit on the higher end for that. And this is again for more of like a fitness performance, not necessarily just health. If you're looking for like really just health, then this is totally fine. Zone 2 would be really perfect for most people. Again, given that most people don't even meet the minimum requirements. If you're gonna do 4 hours of zone 2 on the very minimum, like you've done in excess what the CDC's minimum requirements is. And then the intensity is, I think intensity is also good because now we're starting to work like the higher intensity stuff. If you're going to do, say, like those, VO2 max-esque things, right? Threshold testing, you're not testing, but threshold workouts, you're going to be working more like speed, power. That is also something that like tends to decline, declines as we age, is power and speed. So we tend to just stop sprinting unless you continue to play sports throughout your life. Like most people don't sprint. And it's really funny to watch them do it because they just don't have that the turn on. Like there's that gear that they can't quite switch on. So it's important to kind of maintain all of that as we go. And that doesn't mean you have to get out on the ground, like outside and sprint run. You can do the sprinting on like the rower. You can do sprinting on the bike. I have a biker go over here behind me, and that's perfect. It's just trying really hard. I guess, to say the least. Did I have this backwards earlier? Like a delay on my thing. I think my thing is flipped. Did I? Oh, I did. No, it's flipped. Oops. Whatever. Anyway. Maybe. I don't know. All right. Strength goals. Everyone's loving grip strength right now. Anyway. 3 hours a week. Age-related muscle loss, which starts insidiously in your 40s and picks up the pace in your 50s, is called sarcopenia. The Greek word for poverty of the flesh, says Dr. Attia. Think of strength training as a form of retirement savings. I did not read this ahead of time, but all I'm saying is Peter Attia is stealing my words. He's stealing everything that I'm saying. He knows me. We hang out. He's just it. Think of strength training as a form of retirement savings, he says. Just as you retire with enough money saved up to sustain you for the rest of your life, you want to reach an older age with enough of a reserve of muscle to protect you from injury and allow you to continue to pursue the activities that you enjoy. That muscle also acts as a buffer against a natural aging-related decline in muscle mass. The larger the reserve you build up early on, the better off you will be over the long term. And there are many categories to train. What'd I say? See? True. Peter Tia says it. No, it's true. I mean, I already said it all. I don't need to repeat it. Grip strength. New research reveals the American adults have far weaker grip strength and thus less muscle mass than it did even a generation ago. In 1985, men ages 20 to 24 had average right-handed grip strength of 121 pounds, while in 2015, men of the same age averaged just 101 pounds. Dr. Tia notes that many studies suggest that grip strength predicts how long you are likely to live. In these studies, it's acting as a proxy for overall strength, but it's also a broader indicator of general robustness and your ability to protect yourself if you slip. You know what? I'm going to add this to the list of things to research because I hear this often. Let's just say next stream. Grip strength. My guess is there's no sites here. Yeah, I've been hearing about this a lot more recently about people talking about grip strength. I think there's also, it's just a byproduct too of like exercise. You pick up heavy things and you get stronger at it. And then continue to use. So that's what I actually look at grip strength for. I don't do this with everybody, but it is a way. I'll do this very often with myself. So if you ever see me at the gym, you'll often see me pinch grip weights, right? So you think of like the big circle weights. I'll do a pinch grip. So I'll grab it and try and hold it like this if I can. And I'll usually try and do this with the heavier ones, like the 45s at the very least, if I can. And what gripping does, there is also a really good test for is your stress, your ability to train, your neurological activity at the time. You can use that as a test of like, where are you at on your body? I think Whoop calls it is it your stress score? Your strain, that's what it is. Your strain score. How strained are you? Usually this would be like if you have a higher strain, i.e. you are overworked, under-recovered, haven't slept well, maybe you were out drinking, like food, that type of thing, all these interactions that affect your overall being, they will affect your grip strength as well, generally speaking. So you can use that as a really good proxy. If you're like, I'm not sure how I'm feeling today, do a little quick grip test and be like, whoop, I am good or I'm not good. And I kind of got one of our other coaches to kind of think about that a little bit more. And so I'll see him do it too. And he'll pick it up. He'll pick up weights and he's like, got no grip strength today. And I'm like, light day, take it a little bit easier. Like, yep. So, but I'm also this, like, from going from 121 to 101, I mean, 20 pounds, like that's nothing. That's nothing. That's not anything to scoff about, or to be like overtly concerned about, I would say. Weighted carries, dead hangs, and plate pinches. Your goal, do a farm carry with a quarter of your body weight in each hand for 1 minute. Okay, yeah, I can do that. I was like, can I do that? It was a quarter of my body weight. 200 pounds. 50, a little over 50 pounds. Yeah, easy. You will do walks with at the very least 70s, 71. Concentric and eccentric loading. Concentric being the up portion of any movement, eccentric being the lowering portion of a movement. So if you think of, if I'm squatting, you have the bar in the back. The eccentric is you squatting down. The concentric is you moving up. You need strength when your muscles are shortening, concentric, and lengthening, eccentric, under load. In other words, you must be able to lift the weight up and put it back down, slowly and with control. In life, especially as you age, eccentric strength is where many people falter. That is true. You think about watching older people as they go to sit down, you see them kind of sit, then pop, fall down. It lasts a little bit. Eccentric strength in the quads is what gives us the brakes required when we are moving down an incline or walking down a set of stairs. It's really important. Keep us safe from falling. Obviously strength is going to be one big thing. Another interesting thing is agility. Doing agility work with older people is really important. Not so much of like doing necessarily ladder drills, which I do with my older clients. But doing stuff that makes them do change of direction, moving forward, backwards, calling for them to stop on like when I call stop or reverse, whatever the movement might be, is another test for falling, or another, not a test, but another way to help prevent falling is people being able to move their feet fast enough. I remember in an old gym, we used to run a 15 over class essentially. And one of the, I got a message from one of my like people in my class, one of my guys, ladies, technically. She was, she said that she sent me this message and she's like, hey Ryan, I just want to give you like this like really cool heads up. I was trying to put something in like the bottom of my grocery cart, and she was as a klutz, like she would trip all the time. Like even in class, she would just be walking and turn around and like, oh, she's on the ground, and be like, you okay? Yeah, okay. But as time went on, one, it stopped happening in class, to where it became a point where like at one point someone was like, you're not falling. We haven't seen you on the ground in a little bit. And we're like, ha, but also like, yes, hell yeah. But so she was putting something in the bottom of her, the shopping cart, and she started to lose her footing and was like, huh, and like kicked her foot out. And she was like, I caught myself. She's like, I caught myself from falling and just stood up. And she was like, I was stunned. Like I wasn't prepared for that. It was crazy. And it was a really cool message. And as an aside for anybody, like those are the types of things that like get me real jazzed about like what I do for a living. The aesthetics are cool, all the body, all that stuff is fun, helping people with their life, but it's like, that's like a thing that has made an exponential impact on somebody's life for the better. It's really cool. Those are the things that I fucking live for. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, agility. Pulling motions. Pulling motions can help bulletproof your shoulders against injury. They're critical in other underrated ways. Like driving your motion when you open car doors, lifting boxes from the floor, and give somebody a hug. What is happening? What a terrible. Practice pulling at all angles. Start with dumbbell rows and progress to overhead moves like pull-ups. What a fucking dumb comment or thing. One, this reads horribly. Opening car doors and lifting boxes. I guess. Giving somebody a hug. Technically that'd be a pec fly, by the way. That'd be more of a chest exercise. Lifting boxes, I guess to a degree. Opening your car door, kind of. So the cool doors that goes up. Also, bulletproofing your shoulders is funny to say. I've seen so many people with bad shoulders who like do all rows and pull-ups. Like I get that this is like, I get that this is meant for a lot of people. So like getting specific and into the weeds is not always probably the most advantageous, but this is annoying to me. Like there's so much more to think about that is worthwhile when it comes to your health and your shoulder. What your shoulder? Let me talk about bulletproofing. Scapular movement, right? The ability of your shoulder blade to glide across your rib cage, to be able to move up and down, to be able to rotate, is super important in all of that. And you use those ranges of motion not in pulling, but also pushing and pressing, say like up and overhead, as well as any sort of like rotational movement. So it's important to hit all the directions. It's also important to have ideally somebody who knows how to teach you how to use your shoulder blades appropriately for movement. Any of my PT people out there would very much understand what I'm getting at. Scapulohumeral rhythm. I think it's scapio, whatever. Anyway, you know where I'm going. It's important, right? Important in a lot of things, life as well as just shoulder health. Hip hinges. You bend at the hips, not the spine, to harness your body's largest muscles, the glutei maximi and the hamstrings. I don't think I've ever read a plural version of the gluteus maximus, but I guess that's technically right. And the hamstrings. It is very powerful. It is a very powerful move that is essential to life. If you are jumping, picking up a penny off the sidewalk, or simply getting out of the chair, you are hip hinging. Also very quad dominant when we talk about jumping. With all this exercise, how is this reading so bad? Dear Lord, with all this exercise, your body may need more TLC. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. And that's where stability and mobility training and low impact things like yoga and walking come in. These kinds of activities help your body recover, and you can target weak areas to build your overall strength. As an aside, active recovery is not recovery. If you are breaking a sweat and you are tiring yourself out, this is not recovery. Like, especially for the layperson. If you're an athlete, you can argue that these low intensity days will bring you down a little bit, like going for a nice walk. Maybe you could do yoga or something like that, but like, whatever. If you need somewhere to start and you aren't sure how to get, try this simple bodyweight workout. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Start by doing 30-second plank walkout, then at 30 seconds of alternating reverse lunges, then 30 seconds of jumping jacks. Rest 30 seconds and repeat until time is up. Fires up your core and burns calories, and it gets you moving in multiple planes, an underrated quality you want to preserve for longevity. It also challenges many of the key functions we've already listed below. A bonus, as you gain fitness, this can become a warm-up drill for your workout you do. If you're looking for more exercise guidelines, check out the Men's Health, which is a full month-long workout, so it can help you improve your VO2 max, build total body. Let's see. How much? Dear Lord. Badass arms. 30-minute shred. Sorry. A no bullshit 3-week plan for big gains? No shot. To be able to. I want to know who it is. Who wrote this? By the way, like, dumb belly fat burning workouts. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate all the marketing. So dumb. All fucking lies. Except this one. Eat for abs is true. Do that. Probably something else that's on here that I'm not reading. Oh, shit. Did I just close out of it on accident? Okay, whatever. I have no idea what this has to do with RFK in any way, shape, or form other than it referenced him in that. Exercise is the strongest form of medicine. I agree. I think we already talked about that. Cardio goals, I think probably 2 to 3 days a week is probably what you would need to do. There's other ways you can kind of blast through that. You can do any of the stuff that they were talking about, 2 or 3 days of like dedicated cardio sessions, whether that's like a group class that you're taking at either a high intensity or you take a steady state low intensity to move through it at the, that breathing or the talk test that we were talking about. Perfect. Or you can go for a run, or you can go for a row, or ride a bike, or whatever the case may be, something that kind of moves you for extended periods of time. Is perfect. Keep in mind the higher intensity, the shorter you're going to be able to handle it, so you're not going to be able to go quite as long or as hard. Lower intensity, you go for a little bit longer. You can maintain. Okay. Strength training, I think you need to train at least minimum 3 to 4 days a week. I think I've heard Dr. Mike Israetel talk about the idea that this might be actually an hypertrophy standpoint, but 3 sessions a week going to 4 isn't as much of that big of a jump or something like that. There's 3 or 4 or 4 to 5. I can't remember. But 4 days a week of strength training is totally great, right? And you can do a generic like progressive training plan, hit your push pull, hit a core lift plus some accessories on top. Beautiful. If you hold on to stuff, your grip strength will grow. I don't know that you necessarily need to specifically train that, though it is pretty cool. It's always cool when you see a bunch of people holding on to these big ass weights and walking around looking all jacked and shit. It's pretty neat, especially when they're hard. You're kind of straining with it, but I don't think you need to necessarily be doing like farmer carries or any of these things to dedicate time on building your grip strength unless you really want to. It will come with time. Just hold on to heavy things. This is weird. Just move through range of motion. Move through full range of motion. Oh, I didn't even read this. Just work through quality range of motion. If you're just an average Joe or Jane, like you don't have to necessarily try and move fast, nor do you have to necessarily try and move down. The goal should be control. If you were to watch a demo video, be the demo video. Be what is supposed to be done with for any of your movements. Obviously, we can talk more athletic stuff, but if you're an athlete, that changes the game changes a little bit depending on a whole bunch of things. But just move. That's all you really have to do. We already kind of talked about pulling motions, hip hinges, deadlifts, hip thrusts, kettlebell swings. Anything that loads your butt and hamstrings are great. Deadlifts are awesome. I prefer trap bars because it's just a little bit easier to do. I'm also a big fan of RDLs. Hip thrusts are cool because you get to throw a whole bunch of weight on and hump the air. These aren't necessarily, you don't necessarily need to do them or make them like a dedicated part of your workout. If you do squats and if you do any form of deadlift or hinge, like deadlift, RDLs, good mornings, you will get, and plus squatting is a partial, some hip hinging as well. You're fine. Kettlebell swings are awesome. I do love them, but they are also technical movement that you just need to be able to really understand how to do. You shouldn't be feeling this in your back. You will a little bit, but it shouldn't be a back exercise. So it's just you need to be able to keep your middle tight, blah, 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 whatever. I'm not gonna be able to do exercise demos right now, but that's the idea. So yeah. But move conversations. ATIA exercise is by far the most potent longevity drug. Who could argue with that claim? RFK's boss. He said exercise depletes our limited reserve of energy, apparently needed for more frivolous expenditures of time. Visiting McDonald's, tweeting, or whatever it's called now, undermine democracy, etc. What is that? Was there? I'll save this for another one. The one supplement secretly ruining your gains. Probably low T. TigerFitness.com. What a fucking grifter. Yeah, actually, you know what? He's not a grifter. He's always been this way. Just for whatever reason, become more vocal about it. I think I also heard him talk some shit about collagen protein. As soon as you said that, I already knew what you were getting at. Yay, a clear answer to this. I didn't think we could count the protein, just the calories. Thanks, Mark. Take Garden of Life grass fed. Never counted collagen. Actually, okay. I want to look this up. Trump exercise. Trump exercise. Can't look at the failing CNN. The president. Well, this is very special, and thank you for being here. Thrilled to welcome. What? What is it? Let's go Trump exercise comment. Let's go Fox News. I would prefer not to.
Top newspapers.
Oh, I can't stop it.
Saying President Trump is privately suggesting that the infamous Access Hollywood tape may have been doctored. The pundits are plunging into crazy talk.
Oh, this is just like straight normal fitness. Okay, we get tape on. Where says it's as Mega Festus. We're cooked, as they say. Donald Trump has a very strange theory about exercise. President Donald Trump has a number of unorthodox theories about politics, but his theory of why exercise is bad for you is the strangest I've heard yet. Other than golf, he considers exercise misguided, arguing that a person, like a battery, is born with a finite amount of energy, writes Evan Osnos in a piece entitled How Trump Could Get Fired that appeared in the May 8th edition of The New Yorker. That's far from the first time that we've heard Trump and exercise aren't friends. This, from a February 26th piece in Axios, the only workout Trump gets is an occasional round of golf. Even then, he mostly travels by cart on the campaign trail. He is viewed as rallies as a form of exercise. I have never seen a thin person drinking Diet Coke. And then Trump said he's not following any special diet or exercise regime at the campaign. All my friends who work out all the time, they're going for knee replacements, hip replacements. They're a disaster, he said. He exerts himself fully by standing in front of an audience for an hour, as he just did. While the general held belief, while the medical community is contra Trump, that exercise is good for you, I did find one study from 2005 published by the Circulation magazine. I am a subscriber, of course, that suggests people who exercise strenuously 47 times a week were at an increased risk of vascular disease than compared to those who exercise strenuously 2 to 3 times a week. Final apply to Trump, who exercised 0 times a week, unless you count the time that he spends golfing or something during the regular weekend. Trump is 6'3"? What? I did not know that. He's tall, damn, and weighs 236 pounds as far as we know. Trump regularly touted his physical fitness as compared to that of Hillary Clinton. To defeat crime and radical Islamic terrorism in our country, to win trade in our country, you need tremendous physical and mental strength and stamina. And the rumors of a major White House staff shakeup. Trump's odd theory of exercise isn't the most pressing issue. Dude, it's a machine of nonsense. This is a video. Oh, what?
At the United Nations today, President Trump opened with the signature line.
In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country.
But the booming applause that fills the air at his campaign rallies evoked a different response from world leaders and diplomats.
Oh no.
At the president's expense.
Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
In his second speech to the United Nations General Assembly, the president reaffirmed his rejection of globalism, translating his...
Okay, I need to find where this is. In her remarkable New York story this week, the Trump human body is the Trump human in a remarkably New Yorker story this week. God damn it. The Trump, in a remarkable New York story this week about how Donald Trump could realistically be removed from his presidency, Evan Osnos writes, other than golf, he considers exercise misguided, arguing that a person like a battery is born with a finite amount of energy. The human body is non-rechargeable battery theory was first detailed by Michael Kranish and Mark Fisher in the 2007 book Trump Revealed. After college, after Trump mostly gave up his personal athletic interest, he came to view time spent playing sports as time wasted. Trump believed that the human body was like a battery with a finite amount of energy, which exercise only depleted. So he didn't work out. When he learned that John O'Donnell, one of the top casino executives, was trained for an Ironman triathlon, he admonished him, "You are going to die young because of this." On the campaign trail, we learned that Trump didn't dedicate any extra time to breaking a sweat because he believes exercise is actually harmful, according to a 2015 New York Times profile. Trump said he was not following any special diet or exercise regimen for the campaign. All my friends, blah, blah, blah. Audience for an hour, he just said. Let's pause to consider how remarkably backward that is. There was a time when doctors would have concern with Trump on this, that the Victorian era. Back then, people worried of physical activity could cause everything from exhaustion and heart palpitations, particularly in women. Those weak women, you know? God, I love it. Cooked. We are cooked. Well, now we know about exercise and RFK, I guess, to some degree. That didn't really tell us anything, but here we are. All right. That is all I have for this today. We got more of these that we can probably go through. We'll go through about nutraceuticals, clean eating, vitamins. Probably not really going to go through the rest of these because I don't know that I want to, other than just maybe for our own enjoyment. But for those that came by, thanks for coming by. Hope it was somewhat enjoyable or entertaining to some degree. And I guess if you want to watch it, it'll be up on YouTube, so you're welcome to do that as well. So anyway, I'll see ya. Enjoy the evening, and I'll miss you until I see you again. Bye.